Okay, this is the marketing panel.
Pam should be up there.
Well, Pam gotta go right
She
now.
gotta go.
Well, Pam was gonna be here, but things got changed around. We know we gonna get this started. We have Michael Imhotep. That's how you spell your name? Say your name?
Yes, Imhotep.
Imhotep, excuse me. I'm gonna introduce everyone, then they're gonna tell you about themselves briefly, then we get straight to the questions. Straight to the questions. We have Andre McWilliams and Miss Jillian Blackwell. Can we get a round of applause for our panelists? We can do better than that, come on now. Now that's better. I'm a gentleman, so I believe ladies go first.
I believe that too. Greetings. Again, my name is Jillian Blackwell. First and foremost, I am a wife and a mother of 3 beautiful boys. My baby is having a birthday party today, well, actually tomorrow. So I talked to him, I was like, what? We gotta get this together. Anyway, my background is in corporate marketing as well as entrepreneur. Now I'm back in corporate marketing. I have a company called the Jillian Blackwell Agency, and under that I have a couple other companies. I have an organization called My Girlfriend's Business where I work with women entrepreneurs, help them see their vision and launch their vision. And secondly, I have a company called Detroit Faces and Places where I promote the people and the places within the city of Detroit. I have a database of over 10,000 subscribers that want to see what's happening within the city of Detroit. And then I work with clients on a daily basis and try to help them launch what it is they're trying to do. So I'm glad to be here and hopefully be able to answer your questions.
Hello, my name is Andre McWilliams. I'm with streetvision.com, and it is a digital media marketing and production company. We produce digital media videos, portrait photography, commercial photography services, as well as publish our own mobile app, which is the Street Pass. The Street Pass is a community hub that contains information and content for various urban cities, including Detroit, directing you to various events and businesses in the community. We'd like to call ourselves the independent marketing rep for those companies. So we take various strategies using internet, social media to form various marketing campaigns.
How's everybody doing today?
Great.
Okay, so this is the last panel of the weekend. I want to thank everybody for coming here, spending the last 3 days with us. My name is Michael Imhotep. I'm the president of the African History Network, host of the African History Network show. We focus on educating, empowering, and inspiring people of African descent throughout the diaspora and around the world, whether you know you are of African descent or not. I've been doing marketing, sales, and management in some aspect for probably about the past 20 years. My degree is in business administration from Wayne State with a major in marketing. I started studying history at Wayne State as well about 20 years ago. I'm the host of the African History Network show on Blog Talk Radio. Pam just mentioned Blog Talk. I've been doing my show there for 3 years, have listeners around the world. And I've used a lot of my marketing skills in my business. I've done business consulting for 7 years, helped manage a business consulting company, worked with Mark Lang at Wayne County Community College, which taught entrepreneurship through the Entrepreneur Resource Center at the Eastern Campus. How many people knew about the Entrepreneur Resource Center before today? Okay, they have tons of information there. It's free to the public. We need to use that resource. I'm also a recurring guest on Angelo Henderson's show on WCHB 1200 AM. I do a segment every other Friday dealing with history. This past Friday we dealt with Christopher Columbus and the African Holocaust because October 12th was so-called Columbus Day. Okay, so I'll wrap it up with that. And you'll learn more about me as we get into this.
Okay, excuse me. For those that didn't know, my name is Miles Dixon. I call myself the mediapreneur because I use all my outlets when it comes down to marketing. Video, which Pam touched on, email marketing, mobile marketing. How many people know about mobile marketing? Okay, so right now if you was to text 555-888 and you text my name, Miles Dixon, M-I-L-E-S-D-I-X-O-N, no spaces, you would get all of my information. That this is a tool that I tell anyone who has a business to utilize, because what it does, once you text me that, once you text that number, I now have your phone number, And if anyone knows about mobile devices, they are growing close to 4 to 5 times faster than your desktop computer that's sitting at your desk or your home. Okay? Use that, and that way people won't be getting your phone number with your text. It's talking about come to my store, or I have a sale, and it's coming directly from your cell phone. It's probably most easiest ways to get people because it's in their phone. No one can say that they did not get it. You know what I mean? Everyone would get it. And nowadays, at first, the short codes, what I gave you was 555, 888. Those are the terminology for the short codes. That's the terminology for it. But now, all network systems, hold on, let me get that. Okay, now all network systems such as T-Mobile, Verizon, Sprint, all carriers now accept the short codes. At first, you couldn't, you know, if you had a 5 short code, you weren't hitting the Metro PCSs and the Cricket phones, but now you are able to hit because T-Mobile took over the Cricket and the Metro PCS. So I want to start with Jillian right now and asking her, what are some of your ways would you suggest your clients to initiate their first steps of branding?
First step, oh, thank you, sir.
The first step, I would say, and I'm sure you've heard this because a lot of you're gonna hear a lot of stuff repeated because marketing is real easy. I mean, it doesn't take a scientist to figure out marketing. I sit down with my 11-year-old who is very inquisitive, and he wants to do email marketing. But the first thing I would do, and I'm sure you heard Pam Perry or Dr. William Wisdom mention, is that you need to own your own space, meaning you have to own your own domain name. I own any references to Jillian Blackwell Agency. If you call me something, if I come up with an idea, I own that domain and I'm forwarding it to my domain, Jillian Blackwell Agency. The second thing I would say is that you need to represent yourself in everywhere that you go. I have a girlfriend that works with me with my personal image and my personal branding, because everywhere I go, I am representing my company. Whether I'm pumping gas, whether I'm at a baseball game with my kids, you are representing yourself. So my kids remind me every time when I'm a little antsy with the person at drive-through at Burger King, and they're not giving me the quality of customer service, what I think about is what am I gonna say to this person, because I have no idea who they know, who they touch. So you represent your brand every time you speak, every time you come out the house, when you go to church, when you're taking out the garbage. When you are in the public, you are representing your brand. So regardless if it's online marketing, face-to-face, when I meet this gentleman, if I'm nasty, he's going to spread that nasty brand about myself. And if I am not articulate when I speak, you know, I don't know if I want to have her next time because she didn't really speak very well when she was on the panel. So everything that you do before you come out the house, check for the ladies, what you're saying on Facebook follows you. I posted something on my Facebook page the other day. I thought it was cute. There was a figure of a woman. I'm celebrating a pivotal birthday in a couple of weeks, so I'm exercising. I want to try to fit into my wedding dress. And so it's not a small feat, mind you. Anyway, this lady had a really nice figure, and so I posted it on my Facebook page, but it showed her bottom. And my husband said, "Jill, did you post that on your Facebook page?" I said, "Yeah." He said he didn't say he didn't like it, but the way that he asked me. So that did not represent the brand, so I immediately took it down. So everything you post, everything that you say represents your brand. And so I know that was a long way to answer that, but the way that you come out, the way that you speak, even if you do a whole bunch of stuff on digital, people like to have conversations and like to have face-to-face. And the authentic person is who I see sitting next to me. Because you can represent a whole different image online. But when you speak and when you talk to me, I'm thinking of, okay, is this person genuine? Do I really want to do business with them?
Okay. Go ahead.
One of the first things I would say as far as developing your brand, again, piggybacking off of what she said, is that you're your own brand. You are your own brand. Various times we kind of engage people, like she said, online and offline. I like to create an idea or a call to action with my brand. So not only the brand of streetvision.com, but what it is. So it's streetvision.com, the tagline, online marketing, or take your business to the street. kind of giving an idea or representation of what that brand is and what it actually does.
Okay, very quickly, the question was, how do you go about branding your, what's the first thing you do in branding?
Yeah.
I think the first thing you have to do is to understand what the message is that you want to communicate. Because your business can change over the years, the focus can change over the years, so what is the message that you want to communicate? And also, you have to be knowledgeable in the area that your business is in as well. So I started out the African History Network, not planning to start the African History Network. I just started posting videos dealing with African history on YouTube, just to try to get information out to people. Because when I was in college, I was studying history, and it inspired me so much. I started writing about it and started selling my writings, and started selling African pictures that I brought across the street from Wayne State University for $2.50 a piece and sold them on campus for $5 a piece. So being that my degree's in business, I always thought entrepreneurially. So, and I've been studying history for a long time, and then when I started studying, posting the videos, I started learning more about the history, started studying, and then people started asking me, well, where can we get these DVDs from? I said, wow, I never thought about that. So I made contacts with some of the scholars, got in touch with a distributor, and then started the African History Network selling the DVDs. But I was knowledgeable about the subject matter, and then I developed a motto. We focus on educating, empowering, and inspiring people of African descent throughout the diaspora and around the world. And well, that's not the motto, that's our mission, but motto is right knowledge corrects wrong behavior. Okay, so because I was knowledgeable about the subject matter and people looked at me as an expert in the field, I could then brand the product and know what the message is I'm trying to communicate to people.
That makes sense. No, y'all keep that in my voice line. Y'all can hear me, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Miles, can I just add something to that?
Sure.
If you don't mind. And it's simply because a lot of people spend a lot of time and money on trying to brand a product prior to really establishing themselves in the marketplace. Best example, how many of you knew who Brother Bedford was before this event? You know, besides you.
Right, okay.
Not too many, but how many times have you heard my name throughout the event? So I'm a firm believer that branding is a byproduct of the service that you provide. So if you can provide a service, some form of event, something that will provide true value, then people will automatically ask, well, who is behind that?
Right.
Or who helped to bring that? So quite naturally, Miles and my name came about. We didn't put the Black advantage first. We put brands that people recognize first, built relationships with them. So now when people come here, already people are saying, we can't wait for Black Advantage 3 because we're providing a service. So I would say strive hard to provide service first and let your brand.
You want to come take a seat?
Yeah.
Come on, Brother Bevan, come on. Seat up there, go ahead.
Yeah.
There's an empty seat right there.
Well, that's all I want to say, though.
They know you want to say.
We know you.
Are you a marketer? Marketers never have just one thing to say.
But it should be a byproduct of the service that you provide. Hit the mute button. Now we're starting over. It should just be a byproduct of the service that you provide. And I think it will save you a lot of time and heartache because a lot of people try to brand businesses or products that they don't even know if anyone is interested in. So people spend hundreds, maybe even thousands of dollars, months, maybe even years, instead of going out, putting the service out, and then allowing the brand to build itself. Because neither one of us have, you know, $1 million budget like a Tide or Coke or Pepsi, where they can spend money for brand advertising. So focus on I love what you said about developing your message. So focus first on developing a message, providing a service, and then let the brand be the byproduct of that.
Yeah. Okay. I got a question. First of all, do any of y'all have any questions right now? Because somebody rose up. Nobody got no question? I know you got a question.
For me?
Yes, sir.
Oh, no, I ain't got nothing.
Okay. Well, I got a question. Oh, that's you.
I have a question. How did you, besides the flyers, because I found the flyer to market
the Black Advantage
weekend. What was your other mode of advertising?
I mean, we did social media, we did television, we done radio, And we hit up like people like Ms. Blackwell and people that was on the panel. They dispersed it out to other people. George went on the radio and talked about it.
The
Mr.
reason
Roberts.
I asked is because my son, who is 25, and as I was leaving to come to the conference and packing all my stuff up to come over here, I said, okay, son, I'm going Friday night, and also I'm going to be gone, well, Thursday night.
Yeah.
And then yesterday when I came for a little while, I said, this is what I'm doing, and if you want to come, you can come tomorrow. So let's see if we can work it out. He goes, oh, yeah, I heard about that. Well, it was running late, so I didn't have time to ask him how he heard about it.
Yeah.
So I was just wondering what other mode of advertising.
Yeah. No, we use a lot, even mobile advertising with a few people who have large lists.
Okay.
That's all.
How old is your son?
He's 25.
25? You could have heard the interview on Hot 107.5.
Yeah.
Ah, okay.
Yeah,
Or
heard
Mr.
Mike-
Roberts
heard
interview
Mike
with Big
Roberts.
Radio.
Oh,
And that's the other thing about a lot of you have products and services, and we don't even think about attaching celebrity, even local celebrity, to our products and services. And so it's easier for Mike Roberts to get interviewed by radio personalities, but again, he's providing content and value, and then of course, the DJ, by the way, where are you going to be this weekend? Now, for Mike Roberts, it was twofold, because he was helping to promote the event, but he was also promoting the hotel. So a lot of you have brands or products that there are local celebrities. I mean, Jillian Blackwell is a celebrity, a local celebrity that you can use to help promote a product. Now, I'm not saying develop a brand as a byproduct of providing some other valuable information or service that people can utilize.
And I think also you have to connect your brand with an experience. Whatever that experience is going to be, you have to really connect and promote that. So if it's about happiness, or if it's about hip hop, if it's about cultural exchanges, you have to connect that brand with that experience, because that's how you engage people and get that captive audience. People identify with certain things. That's why you have causes, nonprofits. People align themselves with those particular things. So if it's about PETA, then you're going to get that captive audience for PETA. If it's breast cancer, you're going to get that captive audience, people that can relate, because a lot of people have people in their family who've had breast cancer. So people identify and connect with those various causes and organizations. So you align your brand with those specific things.
And, I like your question because it goes back to the planning of an event. And one of the things that, if we talk about our brand and you want to have a sustainable, a rememberable brand, it's all in the execution, because we can sit here for 3 days and come with some great ideas, take a bunch of notes, but if you do not have a strategy of execution, when I was in corporate America, this is the time frame, this is October. October actually starts in August. August, September, and October. Really, corporations are already talking about what they're going to do in 2014. But what I find entrepreneurs do, we just have this brainstorm in January. Oh, I'm going to do a whole bunch of stuff beginning of the year. No, you need to take the notes and take everything that you do. Even go on a 2-week shutdown and think about what you're going to do for 2014 and have a strategy of execution. Because one of the reasons why we fail, and one of the things why we're not making money and we're scratching our heads and doing some of the things that we may not want to do if we do not plan effectively. And I can speak from that seat, because I did it for a number of years, spinning wheels, trying to determine what I wanted to do. And so I would look back at my corporate experience and said, hey, when I had a plan, I sat down with product development, I sat down with finance, I sat down with whatever, all the different departments, and we came up with a plan of execution of what we're going to do. So find one of the things that they talked about, and this is the last thing I'll not say, but and I'm going to go to scripture real quick, but if you notice, there's a scripture in John chapter 4, it talks about Jesus found himself in the Bible. And I don't want to emphasize that, but I want to say then in chapter 5, what did he do? He went out and got help. He went and got the disciples to help him. And so that man is one of the greatest men spoke about in the earth, but he needed help. And one thing that entrepreneurs don't do, they don't reach out and get help. He was able to execute his plan, not by himself, but for a team of people to help him. And we're still helping him spread that message. So if you look at that example, and I use that all the time, entrepreneurs, they sit down, they scratch their heads, why are things not working? Because you have not put together a plan, put together a team, and executed that plan effectively. So if you're talking about a brand, a lasting brand, think about that brand. It's above Pepsi, it's above Coke. If you talk about Jesus Christ, it's above everything else. You know that brand because that was a strategy that he had.
I have a question. When it comes down to marketing, Brother Bedford, what have you found more effective for you by getting? Because I ask people, why do they do print work to print? Me personally ask them, why do they do print work to promote their website? It never made sense to me. You printing something that's dealing with digital, you know what I mean? But I never saw a Facebook flyer, a MySpace flyer a day in my life, you know what I mean? So I want to ask you a question about that.
I would love to hear Jillian's point of view because there are two things. Nowadays, you do need to learn how to merge your offline and online efforts. And the reason that Facebook and Twitter didn't have to do it is because, see, look, we're out here talking about it without even being in an online space now. So that train has already left the building for those type of brands. But if you're just starting up, if you're just trying to go internet, for myself, my biggest internet success was actually when I did a press release. And so the press release went out promoting the online ebook, and so we got that type of traffic, but then from that came media exposure I got on syndicated radio. And so you have to find the balance of learning how to go from online to offline. We've done that here. We've taken some of the concepts that a lot of us teach online, but we're in an offline space. And if you bought the CDs in the back from Pam Perry or others, or George's book, it's in print. So you gotta know how to take what you're doing online, take it into the physical space, but also still know how to use radio. If we hadn't used Radio 1, I still don't know how effective we would have been. Some would say don't use Radio 1. But yet you have radio, which helps to reinforce what you do on Facebook. Then you also have the ad or the article in the Michigan Chronicle that helps to reinforce.
Which is print.
Exactly. So nothing is obsolete. There is no form of media that would be wiped out. You just have to learn, as Jillian just so beautifully stated, most of us don't think strategically. And so we have to incorporate that in our whole business philosophy. How do I be strategic in getting customers, customer retention, driving traffic? So I would say you have to know how to use both, Miles, the short answer.
I would equate it as in strategic war. Depending on what your message is, you may have a infantry strategy. So you can send in the ground troops. That may be your street team campaign or your flyer distribution or your print advertisement. Then you may send out some bombs. That might be the radio or TV, the big heavy hitters. And then your follow-up, your calls, your interpersonal marketing. Those concepts are very important. When I started Street Vision with my concept, it was many years ago. Started from an original concept that I developed for WJLB before they even had a website. But long story short, I began campaigning and promoting my website. But it was a website that promoted the African American community, of course. And we hadn't really crossed that digital divide. So for me to spend dollars online, which now is more effective, meet people where they are, I had to take it to them. So I had to engage them with that flyer piece or that direct piece so they can see it and then hopefully go online, which still was a challenge because they hadn't crossed the digital divide, so sometimes people miss that mark. So then you have to leverage the average of large numbers, like how many pieces will I have to get one person to engage or to visit that website. So if you want 1,000 people and it takes you 1,000 pieces, so you got to put out 10,000 pieces. So those various things you have to look at as far as your marketing strategy and your marketing campaign to really reach people. And your budget, absolutely.
Let me just say this quickly. I still use some print. I've scaled back on the number of flyers I have to produce because I'm using other mediums. I'm on WCHB radio. I do a text message blast each week, and when I do my lectures, I do a text message blast. So for Detroit, I have about 300 phone numbers on my text message blast list. I send out an email newsletter. I have 1,700 and about 20 email addresses on my constant contact email distribution list. They're across the country, but a lot of them are in Detroit. Also, another medium that I use along with the flyers, because I still do some flyers. I may not do more than 100 or 200. I take them to some strategic places and give them out to people by hand. But a lot of people don't utilize auto dialing. I use a service called One Call, and it does automated phone calls. So when I only had maybe 25 or 50 people to call for an event I'm doing, I could do that maybe over 3 days. Now I have 250 people to call. Okay, so I record a 45-second message, upload it to the system, sends it out to all the people on my list, and I'm done. Okay, so you know, as you transition, as your business grows, you have to focus on not just being effective, but also being efficient. That's extremely important. So print ads, you know, flyers and things like this, they still have their place. But as you transition and start using social media, use YouTube. On our YouTube channel, we have over 12,000 subscribers now, people around the world. So for a lot of events, I'll record a YouTube video, upload it to YouTube, then post it on Facebook and Twitter. On my Facebook like page, we just broke 10,000 likes last week, I think it was, something like that. So as your social media network grows and more people learn about you, the way you use the different mediums will change, and what you invest your money into as well. So you just have to be ready for that. But one medium usually does not kill another one. When radio came out, people thought radio was going to kill newspapers. When TV came out, people thought TV was going to kill radio. With the internet, a lot of people thought internet was going to kill newspapers, and it has cut into TV if you look at Netflix. Okay, Netflix has cut drastically into cable TV, so much so that they are now looked at as a competitor to cable TV networks, because they broadcast a lot of the cable TV programming and regular programming from regular networks on demand. Okay, so one medium usually doesn't kill another one, but it just changes how you utilize it.
You know, going back to your return on your investment. So you need to, again, strategically speaking, if you have a set budget and all of us only have a certain amount of money to do promotions, you need to see what is going to be my best return on my investment. Is it print? One of the mistakes, again, and I can say this because I am still, even though I'm in corporate America, I'm still an entrepreneur. So if I print something, I am going to qualify you before I give you a piece of information. So if I'm showing have a hair show, what's your name, young man?
Mark Lane.
Mark, young man. If I have a hair show that I'm promoting, and I'm talking to an African American, I can say bald, because my husband is bald and bald is sexy. So if I'm talking to an African American bald man and I'm talking about a hair show, he is no longer qualified to get my flyer. There's no return on my investment. So I've seen entrepreneurs come into an event and spread all their flyers on a table and have not qualified that person. So they have invested $500 into 10,000 flyers, and what's your return on your investment? We got, what's the percentage? We got more men in this room, I think, than women. So this is not my target audience, probably, if I'm doing a hair show. So you need to think about, one, your audience, what's your return on your investment? The other thing is that we are over inundated with information. And so I might be getting tweets, I might be getting a flyer, I might be getting social media. You have to hit them multiple times to get your message. So that's why they went to Mr. Mark Smith on Radio 1 and Get on Radio. That's why they did social media. That's why they tapped into other resources, because you have to inundate the market with your message. So you're gonna get some good hits. You might have some people to say, you know, just bad timing, I can't make Black Advantage 2, but I'm definitely gonna make Black Advantage 3, and they've done a great job in terms of branding. First thing is, again, look at your return on your investment, things that we don't do. I had a set budget for this event. I was only gonna spend a certain amount of money for this event. One, because I'm married and my husband counted dollars. Where are you going? So you need to make sure that you are investing wisely into your business and make sure you get a good return on your investment.
Right. Let me just say something quick. Let me just say quickly. One of the reasons why I cut back on print media is I was doing radio more and getting more listeners on my show, but also I would go back around to the places where I would drop off my flyers and see a lot of the flyers still there. So I said, well, I'm just wasting money.
Yes.
So what I do, I print up my flyers myself, take them to Kinko's. I'm not Kinko's, Staples. I design them myself, or take them to On Call Printing, which is African American owned. And I get like I do 2 on a page, 8.5 by 11. So I get 100 is something like $20, something like that. No, it's actually more than that. And I may spend $20 and that's it on flyers, and walk away with 400 flyers, and then I could be good. With that. So you want to, she talked about return on investment, you have to have some type of mechanism in place, especially with print flyers, to see, are people taking these flyers? Am I just wasting money? Things of that nature. That's very important.
I would go as far as to say there's a difference from just branding and marketing and communicating a message. So if I take out 5,000 flyers and it has a brand on it, and I'm executing, getting that brand out, and I hire a street team, and they flood all the street team, the flyers, and that brand kind of saturates. And people have to see a brand or hear a message 3 times before it kind of sinks in. So it may be effective for me if people engage and see that brand. So what I did, I have a big van with a logo on it, streetvision.com, black and white logo. People see it all the time. If I saturate the market with that, people see and identify that with something, and then they see that logo on something else, it's more likely that they'll respond to it. Because they've seen it before. I've seen this before. It's familiar. So now you have a captive audience. So what you want to do is engage them or create a call to action, because if they identify it via the relationship, the emotion that's tied to it, you have a captive audience. So now you need the call to action. You need to log on for a chance to win, log on to subscribe, whatever that is, and then have those communication channels available, whether it be Facebook, Twitter, SMS messaging, short code. Those are how you capture and then you communicate with the people that relate and buy into your brand.
Okay. Next question.
Right now, do anyone have a question about how to market your business?
Miles is funny. Anybody?
All right, go ahead, Mark.
Question for Brother Bedford. You spoke about syndicated media earlier. Talk about how that has impacted the profitability of your business or all that you do, whether indirectly or directly.
I said syndicated media?
Syndicated media.
What are you talking about being broadcast?
We were talking about radio syndication. Actually, we were talking about, when I got into syndication, that was on like Warren Ballantyne's show, Michael Bay's, when they were in syndication, which means that they go across the country. And I believe at that time, when people were asking me about, do you sell ebooks in the city of Detroit? And I used to always say, I would never care if I sell an ebook in the city of Detroit, because I was selling hundreds of ebooks in Atlanta, in Florida. And so syndication allowed, just using another way of leverage. We have, I don't know if you want to call it fortunate or unfortunate for the radio industry, is that local DJs are becoming a lost, whatever you want to call them, just lost souls. There's not too many powerful, popular DJs locally in no city. And so you have these big major brands such as Steve Harvey or Tom Joyner. And so you do have to switch up your marketing strategies again and make it appealing for them. They interview celebrities. And so when you ask, how did that impact the bottom line? Again, first it took me across borders in terms of local borders. But then when you get on those type of programs and those formats, you almost come with the endorsement of a Tom Joyner interviewing you. You come with the endorsement of a Steve Harvey interviewing, because they don't just interview everyone. And so going back to what we were speaking of earlier, that's why I think it's more important to develop a message that they would grasp hold to, that any media would love to grasp hold to. It's not the product first. Radio One will not give you interviews for you to sell your product.
Right.
But they'll give you an interview if you have something to share to their audience that's of value to their audience. And so that's what I've been stressing earlier this morning. Try to find a way to develop a message around your product and service. Lead with that first, and then there's always, even if you're writing articles, there's always the resource box, there's always those things that would drive traffic back to your website to get free reports or whatever the case may be. But the impact of creating a message and some form of celebrity did wonders for my business. And in fact, that was my strategy all along. I could have interviewed tons of millionaires, but no one knew them. So I went after millionaires that people automatically could identify with. So Kathy Hughes. So it's very hard for Radio 1 to say no to me when I've interviewed the owner of the station. So, you know, you got to think strategic, saying, why would they not interview? So those are the things I went after, the George Frazier's, the Les Browns, and the Dennis Kimbroughs. And in doing that, it helped my notoriety rise as well. And so all of us have businesses, or you're in categories or industries, that there are celebrities or experts in your categories that would love for you just to call them and interview them, that even if it's just for a chapter in a report or a book, and you'll find that that goes a long way, Mark. So that really boosted my business.
After you did the interviews, did you solicit the opportunities to get on some of those major shows based on what you had done? So did you sell yourself?
No, I still didn't sell myself. It was George Frazier and Les Brown reveals the keys to entrepreneurial success. And then we talked about George Frazier and Les Brown, and then at the bottom say, if you would like more information, contact Brother Bedford. Again, so who is Brother Bedford? This is the one who interviewed George Frazier and Les Brown. So I can't tell you, entrepreneurs, we love to, since it's our baby, we love to put ourselves up first. It's my product. But if we could learn to put the message before us, we would find that it'll be easier to get into the doors. Because the first thing, nobody wants to be sold to.
Come on now.
So if you're constantly, buy my product, buy my service, I'm the best, I'm this, nobody knows you're the best until they try your product or service. So you have to kind of lead with a trial, with a test. And then they'll let you know if you're the best. So that's how that helped me, Mark.
The young lady next, I heard you had a question.
I had wanted to ask about logos. If you have someone to design a logo for you, how do you own that logo? Is it, with it being attached to your, your company name?
Right. When you
design.
Okay, so when you hire a professional, can we say professional?
Right.
A professional graphic designer. Not Pookie them, not your uncle. They should send you all your files in every different format. JPG, JPEG, PNG, what's the AAUI? EPS.
.ai.
Thank you, baby. They should send you all your files, and now you own it. When you own it, when you pay for it. But when you pay for it, you ask them, can you please send me all of my files? Now you allow them to promote it on their site that they were the creator of the logo, but you're the owner of the logo. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I purchased
trademark though?
Is that your question? You getting a trademark?
Yeah. Well, I purchased it on Fiverr.
Oh,
And it's a beautiful
What generally, did you design it yourself, or they just
I
designed it?
helped them to design it.
So usually you're the creator. If you said, I want this, I want that, you're the creator. That's your intellectual property.
yeah, but on Fiverr, but on Fiverr, what you have to do, you have to tell them, send you that form. It's like a release form.
Yeah.
With Fiverr, they don't give you all the formats because it's a quick fix.
Right.
You know what you paid for, so it's just a quick fix. In return, they want you to go back to them so you can really get it properly done. You know what I mean? If they don't send you, if they don't send you a real vector file with a release on it, I would make sure that's in place before you even start really using it.
And that's the caution with dealing with. I mean, a lot of us like what's the business card company that people use? Vistaprint. Work with somebody local that you can touch, feel, squeeze their arm. You want to work with, and then you support another entrepreneur.
Right.
Vistaprint is a multi-million-dollar company. I'm using that for example. So, and I'm not saying you
I don't like Vistaprint.
But the point that I'm trying to drive is that you want to be able, if you own something of mine, I want to be able to drive to your house and get it.
Right.
So it's a luxury of knowing that you can touch and feel, and then you know that you supported another business. Everybody that I work with are within either the state of Michigan. I have done some projects with people overseas because they kind of inexpensive.
My partner Nathan Talbot, that's what he does, and I just want him to expound on.
Oh, good. We got a graphic design.
Real quick, when you're talking about intellectual property, this is how it works. If you didn't create it, your hand didn't go to the paper and create it, you probably don't own it. Even if you paid somebody. Work for hire, sort of what you were talking about, like the Fiverr, you can describe it, but work for hire is a very detailed legal definition. It's not like I paid somebody so they work for my hire. It's not how it works. If you didn't provide the workspace, if you didn't tell them when they had to show up for work, what they could work with, if you couldn't take them off that project and make them do something else, it's not a work for hire. So the only way you can get that when you're working with, and this is key what they're saying, work with professionals who understand this, and what they're going to do is they're going to give you a copyright transfer. There's going to be an agreement. So when you have them design something, write something, take a photographer taking your picture, you don't own that picture.
Right.
See, you go to Sears and take the picture, Sears owns that
Absolutely.
picture. Right? And they'll just sell you some prints. So you need a transfer of assignment, which you can try to claim as work for hire, but in general, really what you're doing is you're having a little, it's about a 1 or 2 page contract that says all copyrights that you as the artist own, you're now transferring to me. So I own them, and I'm able to register this, and I can register as a work for hire, and it'll be my thing. And if they're not going to give that to you, which they probably won't on Fiverr, or they definitely won't on Vistaprint or anyplace else, you shouldn't be working with them because you're not going to own it. And the only reason you have a logo designed is so you can brand yourself. You can own that. You know, if you were in a meeting earlier, we talked about it. Most of your business comes from your brand. That's what you market, your brand. You know what I mean? So that's what you want to do. It's paperwork. It's definitely something you want to get in writing from somebody transferring all ownership over to you.
There's an app you can get that real contracts called Shake. It's an app, it's a contract app called Shake. You can download that, create your own contracts for free.
I just want to comment quickly on something Brother Bedford said, and it goes back to what we were talking about earlier with your message in your business. It's extremely important for you to be able to position yourself as an expert in your field. Because even though the brand may be out there, XYZ company, people are going to know at some point that you're behind the brand. So if there's a problem with the information that you're putting out, they're going to have a problem with the brand. They're going to associate the two together. So with me, for instance, I know what I know and I know what I don't know. And I ask myself questions about what I don't know. I do the research. People see this. I've never called myself a historian. People call me a historian because I do the research and I know what I'm talking about and I can document what I'm talking about. I have hundreds and hundreds of articles on all different subjects. And not only that, I've interviewed a lot of the scholars. A lot of the African-centered scholars are some of my teachers, like Booker T. Coleman, who's in Hidden Colors 1 and 2. We co-host a show together every Wednesday night. So I know who to go to for the information. I've interviewed them. Those are on my website. They're on Blog Talk Radio, things like that. So because I put in the work, people look at me as an expert in the field, even though I've never called myself an expert one day in my life. Okay, so it's extremely important for you to do the research and have the knowledge base so that you can be positioned as an expert in the mind of the consumer. When we look at marketing, we have what's called the cognitive set. The cognitive set is somewhere between 5 to 7 brands of a competitor. So when you think of cola, okay, you think of Coca-Cola, Pepsi-Cola, RC Cola, maybe Fago Cola, what have you. And they are in a hierarchy in your mind. When you watch a TV commercial, it changes. They're constantly competing for the #1 spot in your mind, okay? But it's the cognitive set, all right? So you want to be able to position yourself in the mind of the potential consumer. Reese and Trout, who were like the Hall and Notes of marketing, Al Reese and Jack Trout, they wrote a book called Positioning, The Battle for Your Mind. I had to read it in business school, okay? And that deals with that. Okay, so these are things that people have to understand when they are when they are an entrepreneur, and understand how to get that message out and how to position themselves as an expert.
Okay, we have room for 1 or 2 more questions. Anyone have any more questions? Okay. You have anything?
I just want to piggyback on what he talked about in terms of being an expert in your field, but you also have to be an expert. You can't be an expert, but you also have to know your client. I have a new project called Clicks, Calls, and Conversations. And one of the things that we do not do is we do not research our potential customer. So if I'm talking to someone and I'm trying to get into the trucking industry and I like to just work with all truckers, I need to be able to speak their language and intellectually talk to them about why they need to hire me as their marketing person, because I understand their business. And so when I talk about clicks, calls, and conversation, you need to do a lot of clicking to do the research. And then you're prepared to make that phone call to talk to that customer. And then, you like that, don't you? That's a brand new person. Click, calls, and conversation. And then you sit down and have the conversation with them. And so a lot of times we just, you know, and I love, you know, having a lot of people following me, and love that. But if I can't speak to you about what you're trying to do, I've exited myself out of the conversation. And so be an expert at what you do. Know how to speak your language. Talk about marketing. But if I talk to Mary Kay products, Mary Kay entrepreneurs, I need to know what's the new line that just came out. You listen, it's a hotline. This Christmas is coming up. I love that makeup. You really need to get that out there. They talk to me like, girl, now how are we gonna do that? Right. If I'm talking to someone about if I'm talking to Microsoft, just opened a brand new store in Troy, I need to be talking about the language that they just have now a new Surface Pro computer. I know how to talk to Microsoft because I've done the research and I know who their strategy. They're not trying to get my market. They're trying to get my son, the 11-year-old who likes Xbox. I know their strategy. So you need to do the research, do the clicks, not clicking on yourself and trying to get all these hits. People follow you, but click and do the research. So when you talk to somebody on a panel, you should know that I got 3 kids because it's all on Facebook. So I'm gonna have a conversation. You know my boy Mackenzie, because you've done the research, and you took even if it took you 2 seconds, you took those 2 seconds to click. Now you can call me because we got something to talk about, and now I might want to have a conversation with you. And what happens with the conversation? I might hire you. So that's my little spiel.
All right.
Click, call, the conversation.
What you give a round of applause for our panelists?